morning to you, Mr. Edwards.
Morning and morning to your viewers as well.
Fantastic. And of course, Mr. Edwards, one of the two candidates vying for the presidency of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. 9 days away, Mr. Edwards. How are you feeling? What's the vibe in your camp?
We are confident. We are humble, but we are confident in terms of victory. I think the members have accepted our manifesto and our plans well. I think we have been given the confidence of the membership and looking forward to the election.
And before I get into your manifesto and your plans to manage the affairs of football in Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, tell the viewers about yourself. For those who know you, just remind them of who you are when it comes to football.
So I'm a former national footballer, youth footballer, under 17, under 20 footballer. I would have been instrumental in terms of restarting football for Trinidad and Tobago during the pandemic. I would have been the director of the Ascension Football Tournament that would have restarted football with the Ministry of Sport and the Normalization Committee. Really revamping football in Trinidad and Tobago, bringing back the fans to football. I would have been a sponsor of many leagues. The TFA League, I would have been a sponsor of the TFA League for many years. I think it's important for the viewers to know that I've been continuing to support football. I will continue to support football no matter what happens on the 13th of April.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you seem as a very young person. I think it's a clap for that, in that sense. And you spoke about revamping football in Trinidad and Tobago. When it comes to running an NGO and NGB, you know that sometimes you may have all the plans, all the ideas in the mind, but it's a team. And to manage Trinidad and Tobago's football coming out of normalization and all these different things, what made you think that you are the man to get football working again in Trinidad and Tobago?
I would have, during the period of normalization, I would have been the person instrumental in terms of keeping the membership together. Even when there was the normalization committee placed on Trinidad and Tobago football by FIFA, the previous executive would have taken the FIFA and the normalization committee to court, in local courts, which is against the FIFA statutes. I would have been able to rally with the membership, letting them understand that we would have signed on to the mandate of FIFA and be instrumental in terms of having the court matter being withdrawn from the local courts. So I think in terms of my track record, in terms of getting the membership together, letting them understand their roles and function, I think I've been instrumental in that part. And in terms of continuation of that, I think not just me, but my slate, having over 200 and something years of experience in football and football administration. We have the competencies to manage Trinidad and Tobago football in the future.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're going to get to your slate just now. In terms of your plans, you don't have to lay out the whole manifesto, but your immediate plans, should you be elected come next Saturday, what are your immediate plans?
I'm in Tobago here.
Yes.
Speaking to the Tobago membership and the members. So some of our immediate plans for Tobago. So two of the major things we want to do in the first 100 days is to really implement our beach soccer portfolio in terms of ensuring that Trinidad and Tobago qualifies for a beach soccer World Cup. And two is to really have a beach soccer World Cup hosted in Trinidad and Tobago, with Tobago being the focal point of that. And then we want to ensure that we set up a satellite office in Tobago. And within the first 100 days, we'll meet with FIFA. Once we are elected, we'll meet with FIFA and CONCACAF in terms of implementing the goal project for Tobago, in terms of having a home of football for Tobago, where it's not just a home of football in terms of a field and an administrative office. We'll also set up where it could be self-sufficient, where we'll set up rooms so that persons coming to vacation, clubs coming to vacation, clubs coming to do their pre-season tournaments could be hosted in Tobago, and it will be a revenue earner, not just for the TTFA, but also for the TFA.
So this Go project, given the fact that we already have a home for football in the country, Trinidad and Tobago, so the FIFA allows for one for Trinidad and one in Tobago as well.
So each FIFA point forward funding allows for you to do projects.
Right.
So the 2.0 funding, we would have done projects. The home of football would have come through the FIFA forward funding. So there's a new 3.0 funding started last year, June.
Right.
And that funding is still available. So there's $3 million US allocated for TTFA, and we intend to allocate those funds with the support of the THA and the Minister of Sports, knowing that the Minister of Sports is also from Tobago. We hope that we'll get the buy-in from the government in terms of partnering with the TTFA, with FIFA, in terms of setting up a home of football in Tobago. It's important we don't just allow for persons the travel between Trinidad and Tobago for Tobago athletes. We need to make sure that there's progression for Tobago athletes and there's a pathway.
I like that because, I mean, me playing cricket over the years and traveling to Trinidad and, I mean, telling you about the struggles. I mean, it has been a struggle and it still is a struggle. So I'm happy to hear that. And I wanted to ask you just before the break about Tobago's involvement in getting Trinidad and Tobago back to top 50 in the world. How do you see Tobago playing a pivotal role in that?
It's important for our players. It's important for the players in Tobago to see that progression, to see football as a career. It starts there. So the development of the Tobago young athletes, it's important that we set up the satellite office, ensuring that there's a development program, U10, U13, U15, U20s, so players can see the progression. Ensuring that there's protection for youths coming out of the secondary school league. So we intend to set up a draft within the TT Premier League because it falls under the TTFA, where youths within Tobago coming out through secondary schools can be able to get selected to clubs, not just in Tobago, not just the Phoenix being the top club in Tobago, but also be drafted from clubs in Trinidad and see football as a career. It's important for our coach development so that our coaches could do the right strength and conditioning. It's important for kids not just to stay on the PlayStation and play FIFA 2024, but to get back out on the fields and get them active into sports, not just football, but all sports at a younger age. So youth 8, U10, have them playing various sports in terms of their mobility, flexibility, because those things do play a factor in terms of when they progress in terms of senior football. So it's really building the blocks, giving the youths a pathway to have football as a career, not just as a hobby.
Yeah, and so it seems that that's going to be your main job as president. You want to get young people, youths, especially at schools, participating more frequently in terms of U8, well, all the age groups that you spoke about recently. Tell me about your slate and give me a kind of idea of their backgrounds. Starting with the person that you have as to be at this Tobago person on your slate.
So we have Shelton Williams as the Tobago person on our slate. He would have came with a lot of expertise in terms of football. He's the vice president of Phoenix, the top club in Tobago currently. Phoenix being the club that has a structure. Even clubs in Trinidad can boast of the structure that Phoenix has in terms of having a masters team, having a tier 1 team, a professional team playing in the football in Trinidad and Tobago PFL. They also have a youth team. They also have a women's team. So that structure, that the ability to administrate in terms of a full academy it would be added. The strength of Shelton is one that we can't say enough of the support of Shelton Williams in terms of our manifesto and what we do going forward. We have our first vice president, Colin Murray, wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, being a senior manager at Carib, being someone in the sport, administrator, commentator. It's important that we communicate to the membership. One thing the members have been crying out for is the lack of communication from the TTFA, and it's not just through the normalization period. Administration past the lack of communication. So having someone like Colin Murray, who is always advocating for membership knowing more, persons having more information, it's important to have him there. We have Osmond Dongna as our second vice president. He comes with a wealth of knowledge as well in terms of the constitution. If anyone has an issue with the constitution, he's the go-to guy.
Right.
And then we have the mandate from FIFA in terms of having all members' constitutions in line with the TTFA's amended constitution. It would help in terms of giving persons the guidance. We have Jameson Riggs as our third vice president. He's the president of the Super League. Maybe it's enough for me. So I would say the second best run league ever in Trinidad and Tobago, the Super League. Ascension being the top. So that administrative knowledge with him, he's working with BP in terms of the Miari area, grassroots area, in terms of administration. So it would help in terms of members understanding that as well. We have Andrew Budo as an ordinary member, ASP, the chairman of police football, to help in terms of what we do when we go back to grassroots, knowing that there's a crime situation in Trinidad, not so much in Tobago, but still we're seeing the changes when we do have programs, having that knowledge, having somebody with the expertise in terms of crime fighting, assisting persons going into the communities. We have two accountants as well. We have Ryan Nunes, which is a chartered accountant, and Alicia Austin, chartered accountant as well. We would have known the normalization would have come based on our finance. So we have persons there to ensure that the issues, the ills of TTFA would not happen again, at least under my watch. I don't know under anyone else reign. But
that's good to hear, though.
under my reign. We also have Alan Nogan, ordinary member as well, comes from the prison service, instrumental in youth football in the Central Zone, vice president of the Central Zone, would have helped me as being a president of East Zone. He would have helped me in terms of ensuring that we have youth football throughout all the zones. And he would have been someone I would have leaned on to ensure that youth football plays in the East Zone. So that's our team. It's a good mix. We would have worked. We have studied the composition of the slate, and I think those persons with the wealth of knowledge and expertise would serve Trinidad and Tobago well.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're looking to wrap the interview this morning. Of course, I know that you have done your campaigning before in terms of all the zones and the teams and things. But just before you go, you can, make your final plea to the clubs in Tobago and to the association before you allow it to go.
I would want to say that if the team progressive is elected, Tobago clubs and the fans in Tobago, the stakeholders in Tobago would see a group, an executive of the TTFA that has the knowledge, has their finger on the pulse of football. I would have been the sponsor of Tobago football through the TFA for some years. And it's someone, and the slate would be a slate that would support Tobago football, ensuring that they have the resources and the wherewithal for athletes, administrators, coaches to get back that excellence of Trinidad and Tobago football. We would have had our most successful player coming from Tobago in terms of Dwight York. One of our most successful coaches as well, Bertus Sinclair, coming from Tobago. We need to get back that excellence from Tobago. I think once Tobago football is doing well, Trinidad and Tobago football does well. So it's important for me to ensure that excellence come back and the support is given to Tobago athletes and administrators as well.
Fantastic. Well, Mr. Edwards, I want to wish you all the best come next Saturday. And as you mentioned, if it is that you aren't successful, you still will be a person on the ground running, the affairs of football, whether it's East Zone or a sponsorship in that regard. But I want to wish you all the best. All of us who are into sport, we want to see Trinidad and Tobago's football right up there. Next World Cup is going to be in CONCACAF, right in our backyard. And obviously we want to see Trinidad and Tobago in that World Cup where we can go to the different stadia and support Trinidad and Tobago. Always feel free to come to Tobago here at the Tobago Updates studio and share, of course, your plans and your vision and all that you have been doing for football in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah?
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.